So for me, the arts create transformational spaces by requiring people to take off, take off, take off, because I can't trust you to tell a human story if you refuse to be human. I so thank you for the follow-up question, because I know when I say that, some people think, especially church people, think I'm reducing church down to performative, and I'm not. Here's what I'm
Right.
saying. At its granular level, the theater is an art form that dissects the human experience so that it can mirror it to you in a way that is useful for you to reflect and process yourself, the world, the context of the world, history, how history plays into the present, how your present plays into your future, the decisions you make, the choices you made, how to live with, blah, 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 blah. So that's what theater does. Theater studies the human
Yeah.
experience so that it can use it to give you something, right? Is that not is that not what we do in church? I mean, that's what church is supposed to be, where we are
Yeah.
studying the human experience, where we are studying the journey of what it means to live this life, like in my prayer earlier, where we live this life in an eternity spectrum, not just day to day, but on the range of eternity. Is that not what church is, where we are studying this life that we have, this God that we have, this universe that we exist in, and we're trying to figure out what is the best way to journey forward? What is the best way to do that? What are the ways that I can reflect and examine myself so that what I'm doing is pleasing in the moment and in eternity? And that's when I talk about how church and theater are similar, not the same, but similar.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Is like we are both commissioned to unpack the human experience and to give people the capacity to process that. And some in church we do it in. So I think the difference is, people like to think that in church it's just spontaneous, organic, spiritual, of the moment, and in theater it's rehearsed and it is practiced and it is, all
Yeah.
that. I'm going to beg to differ. I'm not going to dissect that right now, but but I would say not so much. Not so much.
Right.
As a person who has seen behind the curtain, I will say not so much.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Right.
mean when I say they are very similar.
My mind, when you talk about theater and the way you just explained it, my mind immediately began to go into the scriptures, into the gospels, and I thought about Jesus speaking in parables, how that was, it was not theater, but it was theater-ish. And he's using these stories, right? I'm a huge fan of story. I created a whole workbook around the power of story. And everything you're talking about is critical because we overcome by the blood of the lamb and the words of our testimonies. But you have to be aware of the stories. People are reading about Job and not knowing that Job wasn't even a Hebrew. Job was written, he was actually not even, he was written later about someone way far away. That was oratory. That's a
Yeah,
story that had been passed on,
nice.
probably even acted out, right? And so when you think about what you're sharing, it is really profound. And I had this thought, I'm like, wow, Michelle in the 206 was Tyler Perry before Tyler Perry hit stage. Like you already with the young folks. Like, and I love that. Now, with this vision that you have,